our conversation. And David, I think we were with you. You were speaking about bringing in young and passionate teachers into basic education in South Africa. But are you finding that pupils are leaving matric and intentionally or willingly going into teaching as a career path? Or is there some convincing that needs to be done?
It's definitely a bit of both. It's definitely a bit of both. You need to find those young people who are willing, who are passionate, who really love what they do. So we work together with organizations similar to us in township and rural communities. There's a very specific type of person that can thrive in those situations. It's a leader who really believes that ultimately they are, as Jeremy said, the impact that is going to make a difference inside of that school and that community. So yes, you need to find that young person. You need to encourage that young person that teaching is a very fantastic profession, that it can actually fulfill you. It can actually drive the collective impact. And yes, there are young people that are going to other professions, not choosing teaching, but we also look to find them. And similarly to the Jakes Gerwel Foundation, us as Teaching Nation, we look across the board. So engineers, medical doctors, people from agricultural science, we look for leadership. And then we encourage those young people who we call high potential candidates. We place them in schools for 2 years and we support them. And they ultimately are the drivers of change that we see in our schools and communities. So we need to look for them, we need to find them, but definitely it is possible.
Sithembiso, I'll come back to you in a moment. I just want to pick Jeremy's brain on what David has said there around finding teachers and encouraging them to be a part of the profession. What about the conditions under which they work? Surely that also serves as a huge deterrent when it comes to attracting young people to the profession.
Thank you. This is one of the critical issues, isn't it? Making sure that we attract high potential young people. One of the challenges in South Africa is that our education degrees, certainly the Bachelor of Education, has some of the lowest entry points for any degree at university, and that needs to change. We need to say we only want the best to teach our children, not we're willing to take everyone. However, on the flip side, there are exciting trends that we're seeing. We're seeing more and more graduates wanting to apply to do the postgraduate certificate in education, a PGCE to qualify, and the quality of those graduates is exceptionally high. There's, again, very common research internationally that during economically challenging times, we find higher quality graduates moving towards teaching. And in South Africa, we've seen that trend too. The quality of our teachers has been improving over the last number of years. We've increased from about 14,000 teacher graduates about 8 years ago through to about 28,000 that graduated last year. So there's a significant increase in the number of graduates. And research on those young teachers is showing that they generally have better content knowledge and are able to assist their learners to get better outcomes. But I do want to point out that that Sithembiso represents one of those remarkable young people, highly talented, exceptional student at school. She could have chosen to do anything, and yet she represents those young, passionate change makers, the innovators, the leaders that David spoke about, who are choosing to step into education. And we get to work with people like that. It's one of the great joys of my life. But you know, here is an example, and there are many, many, many thousands across the country who are in a similar position to her.
Sithembiso, no doubt your passion is really there and your willingness to contribute positively when it comes to basic education in the country. But what would you say are some of the biggest challenges you deal with as an educator? And really, I suppose here, the importance of innovation and technology to perhaps make not only your job easier, but the learning of the students easier as well.
So let me give some context first. Is that I'm a mathematics educator, mathematics and mathematical literacy. So already that's a challenge on its own.
Yeah.
You know, there are learners who are not so happy about learning mathematics, but then on the other hand, you have so many parents that say, no, my child has to do mathematics no matter what. So that's already a challenge on its own. And I found it's also quite challenging to be a newly qualified teacher entering the space, because nobody really teaches you or tells you what the teacher admin is.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
of course, it's great to be content wise. You should know all your content, but teaching comes with so many other, I call them side hustles. So many other side hustles of teacher admin and navigating curriculum advisors, navigating the whichever education department of your province. And that requires quite a lot of mentorship and coaching. So being a Jakes Gerwel candidate or fellow, I'm actually quite fortunate that I've had a program officer for about 5 years of being on the program. And then my last 2 years, which is last year and this year, I've had a teacher coach. And has been somebody who has guided me, helped me when I'm feeling frustrated about whatever problem I'm dealing with at that point in time. So, yeah, I'd say those are the challenges. It's about really navigating who you are as a teacher. When it comes to technology, so as I said, I am teaching in an independent school, but it's not necessarily a rich independent school. It's more like trying to help learners who are coming from many disadvantaged communities. So in that case, I try to bring the technology into my classroom and show them some cool things on GeoGebra and stuff like that. But they themselves going back home would not necessarily have access to that, but it's something that we are trying to work on.
Yeah, this is one of many issues that I'm hoping we can ventilate. My apologies, our time was taken by that announcement in Boksburg, but I do appreciate your patience and your insights this afternoon. Jeremy Gibbon, Sithembiso Mbatha and David Oliphant there joining us to speak about the state of basic education in South Africa and what needs to be done. I'll be back